Hey, credit heroes. Today we're going to talk with our newest credit repair millionaires, Odean Lawrence and Okief Robb. They are here today to share their inspiring stories and explain how they went from struggling with their own credit to creating a thriving business that has made over $1 million in revenue. So you better stick around. My name is Daniel Rosen, and welcome to Credit Repair Business Secrets. Okay, if this is your first time listening to my podcast, every week I cover industry news, financial tips, and entrepreneurial advice for bootstrapping your business from nothing. This show is an essential how-to guide for business owners, and there's no other podcast like it. So be sure to click on that subscribe button now and get ready to start changing lives. Okay, let's get started. My guests today are Credit Repair Cloud's newest millionaires, Odean Lawrence and Okief Robb. And you don't want to miss their incredible stories. Odean went from struggling for years, being homeless, sleeping in his car, to becoming a social media marketing expert and driving a new Mercedes. And Okief went from all kinds of side hustles and getting turned down for everything, including jobs, because of his bad credit. And he went from there to building $1 million business, and he did it while serving in the Navy. So please welcome to the podcast, Odean and Okief. Hey guys, congratulations on joining the Millionaires Club.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
One more thing before we get into this, Okief, I want to mention to our audience that I know you just got out of the Navy only a couple days ago after 8 years of service, and you had two deployments, right?
2 deployments to the Middle East, yes.
Well, thank you so much for your service. Anyways, let's get into this. Thanks again for being here, and I want to know everything. So let's start with, where are you guys right now?
We're in Coral Springs, Florida.
Coral Springs. Where in Florida is that?
So that's south of Florida. It's in the county of Broward, not too far from Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, got it. Okay, I remember it. I know that area because I used to work cruise ships. We would come in and out of there. Cool. Okay, so this is going to be fun with both of you. So, Odean, I want to ask you first, what was your life like before credit repair?
Oh, man, you're taking me back to the days. My life before credit repair was, like you mentioned before, is a struggle. I have a family, and trying to sustain a family, not being able to provide or bring in income was tough. I struggled to the point where I was homeless 3 times. My first time being homeless, I got fired from my job. All right, I was working for a governmental job. I got fired from there. And then after getting fired, I wanted to get into life insurance. So I studied to get into life insurance. And while studying, I was sleeping in my car. While going through the ups and downs, I was going, my son at the time and my wife, was staying with family members and friends. I was, in my car, studying, going late nights at Dunkin' Donuts to make sure that I get all of the information to go forward. And, that was a success after passing the state test and just have a driving force to succeed. Well, what ended up happening is after 3 years of struggling in the life insurance field and gaining knowledge and new friendship and relationships and so forth, I still found myself still working dead-end jobs, still being broke at the end of every paycheck. And no matter being, going from a regular worker to a supervisor, the pay was still the pay. It came to a point where, I started to get involved with a lot of different network marketing companies. And, just keep it short, in 2016, I worked 7 jobs because the year prior to that, I was homeless. I told myself I would never go through that situation again. That was my 3rd time being homeless, and I didn't want to go in that situation. So after, while working 7 jobs, knocking doors for AT&T, selling furniture in warehouse, calling individuals who fill out online resumes to try to get them into school. And then my last job in 2016 was working at CVS as a supervisor. I told myself that, I would never be in a position like this ever again. And it came to a point where I went to a car dealer, Daniel. I needed a car because my car broke down, engine went, right? So that's dead. I paid someone to try and fix it, and they scammed me, took my money, and I couldn't hear from them again. They started the process, but then the second day, they just ghosted me. So I went to a dealership, and I went to a dealership with a couple $100. Didn't know what my credit looked like, because prior to that, I told myself, I'm going to just give it the 7 years to have all these things fall off. And, I went to the car dealership. The car dealer came back. Everything was good before. And then he went to go run my credit. And then when he ran it and, took a while to come back, my cousin and I was sitting at the table. I never forget it. And while we were sitting at the table, I saw him come back kind of holding his head. In my head, I'm like, man, he's thinking of what to say now. So he came in, he sat down, and he's like, all right, so here's what we have. I can't get you the car that you wanted. I wanted a wind-up window car. Give me the sun, no sunroof. Give me the hubcaps on the car. Like, give me the basic type of car. And he told me, I can't give you anything unless you pay $5,000 to $10,000 down. Mind you, I'm looking at a $14,000 car. So I felt some type of way at that point, Daniel. I felt like I'm failing as a man, as a person. I felt like I've tried so much and nothing is actually working for me to the point where I'm not, at this position. And I just remember my cousin driving me home. I said to myself, this will never, ever happen again. And a few weeks later, I'm a praying person. So praying and asking for something brand new to come my way. An associate at the time reached out to me like, hey, let me introduce you to credit. And he introduced me to credit with the company, got involved. But I'm an analytical person. So I started studying, really understanding what credit is all about. I was able to then work on my own credit after a few months. And then in 7 short months, I was able to understand how all this works, and then took myself from a 414, 419 credit score, and then jumped my score 256 points into the 700s. And that's how everything started.
Wow, that's amazing. That's really amazing. And I understand what it's like to be at rock bottom and be homeless. I've been homeless. And then to discover how the system really is designed to hurt people. It's terrible. It's criminal. But there's so much money behind it, and they make so much money from it. It's just awful. That is an amazing story that in such a short time, then once you studied, you got your score up so much. That's incredible. Now, how about you, Okief? What was your life like before credit repair?
Well, my life before credit repair. Well, I moved to the U.S. I'm born Jamaican, so I moved to the U.S. in 2008 for school. Did well back in Jamaica, in school, and pretty much, applied for a school up here and got through. So that's how I got to the States. So I came here, finished school, got a degree, excited. I was like, wow, okay, I got a degree now. I can go do any job I want to do. Lo and behold, nobody wants to hire me because I have no experience, right? So then and there, I look at it, and I'm like, wow, that's really how the school system is set up? Nobody wants to give me that experience. How am I going to get that experience, right? If nobody wants to give it to me. So after I graduated, I started doing a whole lot of different jobs because I was like, okay, so I got into a whole lot of call center jobs. And let me tell you, I sold everything. I sold from perfumes and colognes on the streets of Miami to magazines, right? And jumped from job to job because I just had that feeling of dissatisfaction. I knew there is more to this. It can't just be what I'm seeing at face value right now, right? So I was a cable guy. Last job I did before I joined the military, I was actually a truck driver. I drove cross country in every single state there is on snow, ice, and sleet in summertime and in wintertime. That was me. And then I needed something more full and more career type, like something more sturdy, because there was some friend of mine out there driving, and I don't understand how somebody hit your trailer dead on in the back in your blind spot, and it's your fault and you're getting fired. So when I saw that, I was like, you know what? That could happen to me too when I just lose my job. So what I actually did, I had a trip that it was from California to Miami. I did that trip with the plan to not go back out there ever again. When I got to Miami, I called the company. I'd be like, I'm done. Y'all need to come pick up your truck. And then after that, I went to a plaza, and there were like all the military branches there. There was Army, Navy, Marine, Coast Guard, all of them. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to go down the line and I'm going to see who takes me. So I went to Air Force. They didn't take me. Then I went to Navy and they took me. If Navy didn't take me, I would have go to Marine, I would have go to Army, and I'd end up in one of them because I knew I needed a little bit more of a career. So when I got in now, I did really good. But then I realized that I have to have something of my own. Right? I have to have something building on the outside in the event that I need to get out or anything should happen to me and I get out, then I have something of my own. So I joined a network marketing company. That's where I met Odean in 2016. And from there is just history. We started looking into credit, started studying credit on another level, start working on our own credit. And then we had a bright idea. Why not we do this? Why not we set up a business, right? And Odean, he's a man of vision. He meets the right people at the right time. And, we just put together and Real Credit Deal was born.
Wow, that is awesome. And how many years ago did you both start this business?
2016. I think it was was it September, October?
September, yeah. Around that time.
The idea, from there, and here we are.
Wow. And this is, at this point, you're in the Navy, Okief?
Yes.
And how do you run a business when you're in the Navy? How does that work?
Well, what I would say is when you're in the military, you have to be smart, right? You have to be smart because if you're not smart, you will end up in places that you don't want to end up in. So you have to take control. Even though you don't have much control, but the little that they give you, you have to exploit it. And that's what I did when I was in the military, to be in the places that I wanted to be. Right. So the only places that I didn't want it to be is on those 2 deployments. But it was an experience, I would say. But it was just being smart. That's the answer to your question.
Yeah. And having drive. And so you started your business in 2016, and for how long was it just the two of you running the business?
So we both, came up with the idea behind starting a credit repair company. Daniel, I'm going to be straight frank with you. It was tough. It was challenging, tough, right? We went through, at this point, young, ambitious, energetic. We just want to get out there and just do it, right? And I always go back to the book from Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, when him and his friend was in the driveway and they were making nickels, and it was like counterfeit nickels. Well, they had this drive and passion to just do something. So that's where it started. But we were taken advantage of in a sense where we didn't really understand business vernacular. So we were taking advantage. We've gotten our money stolen, thousands of dollars, trying to build a website, trying to build a payout program for partners who might want to join the program. We went through countless amount of individuals or business that either didn't work out or really just took our money and ran. And I just remember there were times, even in 2018, we were thinking like, man, this thing is not working. It's not getting off the ground. We couldn't even get customers to really come into the program on a consistent basis. And it came to a point where it was just, all right, we're gonna give this thing a go again. We went back at it in 2019, connected with someone who was supposed to help us build the whole platform out that we had as far as vision. And then we got robbed then again, right? And I say robbed because they didn't provide the value, or they didn't provide what they promised to provide. And, it was like, okay, we're going to figure this thing out, put it on a simple pause, right? We wasn't truly active with it. but we were still in the background trying to figure out this is what we're not going to do. This is what we're going to do. And then we continue to study in business on a different level, how business works. So instead of putting it in other people's hands, we start to understand it for ourselves so we don't go through that situation again, right? They say, how's the saying, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, right? So we couldn't have that again. So to answer your question, Daniel.
Wow. So then you relaunched the business, learned about business, and then went all in. But first, along the way, were there mentors? Are these kind of mentor people you're talking about?
No mentors.
No mentors. Okay. Just people who would do services that would rip you off. I've been through that.
Correct.
It's really hard when you want to start a business, you have this great idea, but you don't know who to go to, and you see a shiny ad or hey, this guy can do something, and yet it all falls apart and it's never delivered. And they take all your money. Yeah, I've been there a million times. So then you went all in, learned the stuff, and then so was it like 2019, 2020 that you really went all in?
2020.
2020 is when we had the pandemic.
That's when we had the pandemic.
Oh my God.
It was ironic because when that happened, everyone's now forced to be inside. And Okief and I, our communication and just every day we talking about business, every day we hammering it. How can we become better? And I never forget, it was July, I think it was end of June. Yeah, around the end of June or close to the end of June in 2020. Unfortunately, I caught COVID, right? For 6 months, I didn't go outside. And then the one time a friend reached out to me and said, hey, come by, went by, caught COVID from there. And I was in mentally and physically the worst shape of my life. Now, I was still doing credit repair, but I was doing it as an individual, doing the whole Cash App, Zelle, payments, invoice, and so forth. So there was no structure. There was no, all of that was not there. And I remember, Danny, where it came to mind, like, what if you're the breadwinner, right? You're bringing the income for your family. But what if, God forbid, you weren't here anymore? What would happen to your family, your kids? What would you leave them? You're doing this credit and you've been doing it for so long and you still haven't had it up off the ground. You did all the studying. What are you going to do with it? So, I remember getting, Okief communicating, and I mentioned to him exactly what I'm sharing with you in that, not verbatim, but mention it to him. And he was like, let's go all in. So we took all of the knowledge that we've already gained over the years, what to do, what not to do, all of the business education that we've studied without any mentor, and all of the credit education that we've already understood and studied. And we said, you know what, we're just going to go all in. And we went all in. In 2020 of July is when we registered our business officially. And from there, we did six figures in our first 5 months of launching, official launching.
Wow. During a pandemic, 6 figures, unbelievable, and self-taught. How did you learn all the parts about putting together a business and all the parts people don't know at the start of how to create your processes and your systems and SOPs? You've got all that now, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. How did you learn how to do that?
Well, let me just put it this way. As Odean said earlier, we're a praying team. We're always praying. So we always have God in the midst of real credit deal, right? We scour the internet. There's a lot of data, a lot of information on the internet on how to, say, for instance, register your business, how to get your DUNS number, how to get your EIN, how to, set up your tax structure or whatever it is, right? Because we're in 2022, information is at the tip of your fingertips. So that's how we get our information, and through trial and error, because again, it wasn't smooth all the way. It's never smooth all the way. All right. I don't see how, it's not possible to smooth your way to success. You have to fall down and get up, brush off. You might get a little, little cuts here and there. Right. So that's pretty much how we did it, through trial and error and just studying and researching.
That's amazing. Here at CRC, we have a mentor who we learned systems and processes from. His name is Alex Sharfin, but he has a saying, your business is broken, and if all goes well, it always will be. And it always feels like that. I mean, last night I like had a panic attack and my girlfriend goes, "Are you okay?" And I go, "Oh, no, our business is on fire." You know the feeling, don't you? And no matter where you're at, that's what it's always going to be, but it just makes you stronger and stronger, and you can handle more and more. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Right, definitely.
So very, very cool. Now, I understand early on, Odean, Okief, you haven't had credit issues, have you?
I've had credit issues, very bad credit issues.
Well, along the way, did either of you run into credit repair scammers?
Yes.
Tell me about that. And what scams were they running? What happened?
Well, in my case, I was just promised to get my credit report wiped clean. They have a phrase for it, like a clean sweep.
A credit sweep. They sweep away the bad stuff.
Yeah, let me just pay me $1,200 or whatever it may, and I'll clean your credit for you, and I'll give you a trade line on top of that on the back end. None of that happened. So it's out there and it's scary. It's out there and it's really, really scary.
Oh, yeah. For people listening who don't know what a credit sweep is, I should explain what a credit sweep really is, because it's really scary and very illegal. They actually file false police reports for identity theft. And sure, the items get removed instantly, but they come back. But along the way, it opens up an investigation, and then the police and the FBI, and it's something you don't want to do. If you're watching this or listening to this, do not do credit sweeps. People go to jail for credit sweeps. You got to do it the right way. I'm sorry that happened to you, but you didn't get any. They didn't actually do the credit sweep. You didn't get in any trouble.
I didn't get in any trouble per se, but I just didn't get what they promised. But I didn't get the trade line. I don't know what happened there. So
Yeah.
it's a very scary thing, and it's sad that there are folks out there doing that to vulnerable people. That is really sad.
Yeah, especially when you could do credit repair the right way.
The right way.
I mean, literally removing errors. And because there's so many errors, and even accurate items, there's something inaccurate about how they're being reported.
Right.
And to add to that as well, it puts people in the state of mind that all companies are pretty much going to do this. And the space of credit repair is hot within itself. So for individuals who do that, and then, people talk, one of the fastest way to travel information is through word of mouth. So if I get that type of experience and I share it with 10 people and they go and they multiply that and they put it on social media nowadays, it makes it harder for the companies who are actually doing the right thing to actually be successful.
Yes.
Sure. It's a little like the Wild West, but good guys like all of us are here, and we're going to keep everything going the right way. Hey, I want to know, instead of going down, let's go up. How has this new business changed your life, both of you?
You want to go first?
Yeah. In so many ways, Daniel. First and foremost, I got to always give it back to the Most High God, because if without Him, we wouldn't be here. It's changed me mentally, changed the way that I look at business in a whole. Taught me so much about business that I never knew about. And what I did know about, getting into the space, it just started to educate me more, wanted to know more. Financially, it has been able to put my children in private school, something that I've always been dreaming of doing when I was younger. And it's been able to do that for me. Being involved in the credit space has also been able to change my zip code. Change your zip code, you also change your children's school. So it's been able to take me out of a rough neighborhood, and then put me in a better position, better place that I'm satisfied with so far at the moment until I'm ready to move again. financially has changed our bank accounts as well. So it's definitely changed in different brackets of life, and I'm grateful for it. Definitely.
That is so awesome. Good for you. How about you, Okief?
Well, as for me, this space, I've always loved business. Always loved business. And just the opportunity to have my own or our own business at this point, and all the things that I've learned along with it, it just changed my mind frame. It just puts me on a different level of thinking on a whole. As far as financially, of course, it changed my bank account. It does put some zeros behind behind some numbers. As far as my zip code, did change my zip code, of course. I don't have any kids yet, so I mean, but when they do come along in this world, I'm sure they will be better off because our hard work and determination and persistence created something that will they will live after, create a legacy.
Very cool.
And if I may add, Danny, it also allowed me to purchase my dream car at the time, right? No more driving Altimas, nothing wrong with, being where you are and then transitioning, but, no more worrying about, is the engine going to blow or is there going to be smoke coming out of the front part of the car? So I was able to do all of that through using my credit, right? Didn't put any money down. So it was one of those scenarios, built my credit, got into a Mercedes, and not put any money down to sign and drive.
Amazing. Just amazing. Hey, for either of you or both of you, what was your greatest struggle when getting this business started?
That's a good one.
That's a really good one, because we're kind of like, which one is above which one? Which one is greater than which one?
What were some big struggles?
I would say for me, one of the greatest struggles building this business is, the people that you met along the way. Like Odean mentioned earlier, part of setting up this business, there were like a portion, like a section, a block of time, maybe 2 or 3 years or so, where we just run into folks that just see us hungry, determined, and wants to start this business. We tell them this is what we want, and they say, okay, this is what I'm going to give you. This is what it's going to cost, and we'll be like, okay, we find it, and we give it to them, and then we get nothing. So I would say that was the most difficult part that, for me, we had to go through to get to success with this business.
For me, softwares aren't my strengths, right? Okief is a tech guy. He loves, the whole tech stuff, and I can't stand him. But there were times when decisions had to be made, right? Executive decisions amongst us in order to grow our business and not stay the same, or to change certain technology or softwares that we're using at the time to make sure that, okay, things are going to fade out. We just have to apply this strategy or apply this software and grow. And in doing so, it did cost us quite an amount of money because, again, we had no mentor. So, getting softwares and so forth and going through the whole ring of that was also challenging for me personally. But, after going through that first full year and seeing, okay, this is what our expenses look like on softwares, now it puts us in a better position to say, okay, now we can definitely do better, because I look at it like this. We went through the process without any true teacher or mentor. So we had to pay the tuition in order to learn. So we paid our tuition, and then now a lot of those things became a lot easier.
Absolutely. What are some of the biggest mistakes you made when first starting out?
Choosing merchant companies to go with. Everybody's digging in your account, man. You got to make sure that you choose one of the ones that are actually going to work with you. So for me, that's one.
Well, I would say, as for me, that's one of the big ones too, because they hold on to your money.
Oh, yeah. And they're tricky when you want to leave, some of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very tricky, very tricky. So that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned.
Merchants and software companies being very, very careful. I mean, now we have our attorneys looking through our agreements before we sign through anything. because some of those software companies, like you mentioned, they are tricky. And then you push through and thinking, all is well because of the webinar. And then when come time, to accept payment or to pay, it's a whole different ballgame, So just be mindful of whom you go through when it comes to merchants and softwares.
And read that agreement. Get that agreement reviewed by an attorney, because there might be some tiny clause there somewhere that really gets you stuck for maybe 36 months or 12 months or whatever it is. And then they have a really tricky way for you to cancel. You have to send an email in saying XYZ verbatim, or, you really have to be careful of who you do business with and make sure you review those agreements.
Absolutely. Yeah. With the merchant accounts, it's a lot of them have a gnarly contract, but a few have no contract. And a lot of them have a gnarly exit where you get penalized. You have to pay a lot of money to leave.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But there's some that don't have that at all. I like the friendly ones that don't have that stuff, because those other ones prey on people for sure. When you got the business going, did you start with test clients
No.
to get testimonials or anything? No, right into getting clients. How did you find your first real clients?
Because I've, since 2016 and leading up into the year, I was doing credit repair. As I mentioned, I did credit repair. So income was, learning how to market was something that I learned. So I started to leverage Facebook personally before the company. That's how I created my first 6 figures, was just marketing through social media, Facebook particularly. And then I think in 2018, a friend said, hey, why are you not using Instagram? You're leaving a lot of money on the table. So it was just, all right, taking the content and then applying it to the other platform. And some of the contents of what I would post would be thought-provoking contents, right? Things that, you don't want to always hit people with. Maybe you put a couple posts who want to fix their credit and someone will respond and say, me. But, we're talking about getting into the list. So we would then, I would then capitalize on, all right, what are people looking for? What are their pain points? What are, what makes them go, I really want to change. And we started to target things that people want, putting your children in a better position, who wants to change the children's zip code, things like target posts like that will then start bringing people. And then we also started to post contents that are educational about credit. So now we're not just giving them one style of marketing, we're giving them several styles of marketing. So I was able to build up a following from there. And then, from there, it's like, all right, we got the business registered. Everything is looking good. All right. And we just, worked with influencers as well. Something that I used to teach is how to bring in more business so that way you can be hands-free, so to speak. So we would, reach out to influencers, negotiate a cost with them, or if they already have a price that was reasonable for us, then we'll pay them the price that they offer. And then, we'll test out a few. Everything was like trial and errors when it comes to influencers, because not every influencers work. But, we would test out what type of business they're coming through from those, and are they serious or not? And then from there, like I said, Okief is a systems guy, came up with the systems of funneling everything through. And it was just like, all right, taking what I already have as a knowledge, plugging it through the system Okief created, and then everything just started to flow.
Wow, that's very cool. I want to get into the automations part in a minute, but first I want to ask, because you mentioned something really cool. You mentioned influencers. What's your process for recruiting and partnering with influencers? How does that work?
I like to keep things simple, right? So I don't overcomplicate it. I just look on Instagram, for example, or Facebook. So let's just say Facebook. I would go on Facebook and I'll type in the search bar, Uber. Mm-hmm. Uber people are independent workers. They're looking to make some money. So I'll type in Uber and it'll populate everyone who associates themselves with Uber on Facebook. Now, once I do that, as the list comes up, I go through and I friend request as many as I can. And I'll friend request a couple. And by the way, if you're not tackling 100 people a day, you're missing out. So my goal was I'm contacting 100 people a day. I'm not just going to do 1 or 2. So So I reach out to 100 people that drives Uber, and I'll friend request them. And then I'll go on to the next. I'll maybe type in realtors, and a bunch of realtors will pop up, and I'll do the same thing, add everyone that I can. So once I reach my 100 for the day, I'm good. I just wait for them to respond. So then the next day, I'm touching another 100 again. So for those who didn't respond the first day, it's just like a snowball effect. It's just trickle in little by little over the days. Now, once I get in front of that person, then via the computer, then I'm just going to ask, hey, how much, if you were to work with realtors, I would ask them if how much money are you losing by not having a reputable credit repair company on your side. Now, for an actual influencer, I normally go to Instagram for that, right? So Facebook will be for anyone, that is an independent owner. Insurance agents, Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, realtors, and so forth. Now, on Instagram, I'd work it a little different. I actually target influencers. Now, on Instagram, what I would do is I'll type in comedy, right, in the search bar, and a bunch of comedy lists will come up, and it will show you that this influencer has 100,000 followers, and we'll go and I'll check their engagements on their posts, because I don't care about the 100,000. You can buy those, but I want to see the engagements, and I'll go through and I'll look at what type of engagements are these posts having. So I'll click a couple random posts, and if there's a variation of engagements, then I'll reach out to that influencer and I'll say something like, "Hey, Danny, congratulations on all your success. Just curious, how much do you charge for your promotions?" That's it. And I'll link up 100 people on Instagram, and I'll wait for anyone to respond back to me.
Wow. And what might that cost to hire somebody like that?
It depends on if they're too high, if their price point is out of my budget and I'm not willing to spend, then I'm not going to work with them. But on average, $50 for a story, $100 for a story post. I would generally test it out with stories because it gives you more engagement. And then maybe they'll charge $150 to $300 for the actual post. Some of them will leave it on forever. Some of them will take it down after 24 hours. So I'll just gauge, okay, am I going to pay $150 for 24 hours? Let me really dissect this person and see what they're really bringing to the table. If it makes sense, then I'll go ahead and I'll test them out. I mean, you won't know until you try. So I would pay the $150, and then for that 24 hours, I'm completely engaged with the post that they're putting up.
Wow, that is fascinating. Okay, so then once the leads come in and you've got their contact information, Okief, what kind of automations do you guys use? What are your favorites?
Well, we have various softwares we use along the lines of ActiveCampaign, Zoho, Go High Level, softwares like that, Ring Central, softwares along that line. But what was really the game changer was the ability to set up a whole team. And because, teamwork made the dream work, right? To have a customer service team, to have a team that does, the letters and all that good stuff, right? That was a real game changer that fit in right with the marketing. A team that's dedicated as well, you know what I mean? To the cause and believes in the dream.
Okay, let's say someone reaches out, but they're not ready to become a client. Do you have the ActiveCampaign doing a drip sequence to them?
Yes. So we have the ActiveCampaign that, sends out that, information to them. Like things along the lines as, saw that you were interested. Don't know what happened. Stuff along the lines of pique their interest to get them right back in, right? So we do have that. I would say it probably needs a little bit more work, to get it refined. But we do have that, that system.
And then when somebody becomes a customer, do you have additional nurture sequences for existing customers?
Yes, we do as well. Educational pieces, reminders. Educational pieces, reminders, and so on, go out to them. So We do have that.
And we also have our team follow up with them as well. So even if you're a prospect and you didn't sign up today, it's mandatory that everyone does get a follow up. So we go back through the list. I mean, the money's always in the list in the follow up. So our team will go back and you'll send them an email if necessary. And the same, once the client gets on board, we also do, like Okief mentioned, the drip campaigns with emails, text messages. But we also follow up every month. It's in the space, like I mentioned before, it's kind of tainted, right, with so much, wrongful activity that's going on. I want to make sure that we give our clients a concierge feel, all right, a true feeling that you're a part of the family. So, we do a monthly follow-up as well to make sure that each person is catered to.
So like Odean mentioned, we are a family. That's how we look at Real Credit Deal. From our team that takes care of our customers to the customers as well. We look at it as a family, and family takes care of a family. So pretty much everyone that's with us, we always try to make sure they get what they pay for. We don't want anyone to be on our program to have something to say like, I didn't get what I paid for. Because we've been down that road a lot of times where we pay for something and didn't get what we pay for, right? So when it comes on to our clients, we're very, very, very serious in making sure they get what they pay for. You pay for a service with us, you will get it. And that's what we, a part of our program is, and I'll say this, it might be a little secret sauce, but if somebody's on our program, if they believe they haven't got what they pay for, we say, hey, come back here, all right? We're going to go ahead and try this again for another 3 months. Give us the opportunity to do it for you for another 3 months, right? So that's one thing we do just to show that we really, really, really care about our clients.
At right? No cost too.
At no cost, no cost. So in a industry, in a space that, like Odean mentioned, is so tainted, we want to make the difference. We want to be that company that delivers to our clients.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We feel the same way here. Are you a remote company? Is everyone working from home?
Yeah, well, it is remote in a sense. But it's not. There's no office space, if that makes sense. Where we have a staff coming in, everything is definitely online.
Yeah, awesome. Same for us. We have an office here that I'm sitting in, but our team is all over the world.
Right. So we're structured in kind of like the same manner.
Yeah. Although I like having the office to come to. Do you ever plan to have a brick and mortar location or?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, that's definitely in the making. Within the next year. We have our office space that we go to, yes, but again, not for a team, a staff. So that is definitely something that we are working on within the next year.
Awesome. Okief, I wanted to ask you, what did you learn from the military that's helped you with your business?
That's a great question. That's an excellent question. I think if I didn't join the military and get that experience, I wouldn't have really what it takes to run this business. When you join the military, it instills a sense of leadership in you. As you go from the lowest rank to higher rank, and now you're in charge of people, you actually get the ability to lead, to be a leader, right? And honestly, I watch everything. I look at it this way. And like I tell my team, the same thing. The U.S. Navy is the world's greatest navy as we stand right now. Plenty of minds went into building the U.S. Navy. A lot of minds, smart minds, right, went into building the Navy. And if it still stands today as the world's greatest Navy since inception, then they must be doing something good. So what I do is I watch everything they do. I learn everything they do. I see how they do the awards. I see how they, give recognition. I see how they train. I see how I learned all of that. And then I instilled it in my business, pretty much. Honestly, most of my team right now, I get on the phone with them, they're going to be like, copy, sir, copy, copy, roger that. So that's, because I'm a man of structure. I learned that structure from the military, and I took that and I instilled it into Real Credit Hill.
I love that. Okay. We're going to switch gears for a minute. I'm going to ask you guys a couple rapid questions, and then either one of you answer with the first thing that pops into your head. Okay?
Sure.
What drives and motivates you?
Money.
My children.
Ah. Is there a specific business person that inspires you, and why?
Warren Buffett.
Ah, I like Warren Buffett. And who?
Damon John.
Oh, Damon John. Yeah, he's awesome.
Warren Buffett for me because he's smart and he knows how to position himself in times like these. If you go back to the dot-com boom, he positioned himself properly and came out to being one of the richest men in the world, right? So that's why I admire him as a businessman.
And for me, Damon is because of his hustling, man. Just reading his books, going back to his stories of when he first started, selling in the streets. And it just reminds me of my entrepreneur spirit. Even when I didn't have much or anything, I'm out there selling, just trading off whatever time that I had to make sure I go out there and provide a better future for my children, my family. So that's why I chose him.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. For both of you, what's your business superpower?
Helping good people with bad credit.
I would say my business superpower is like seeing beyond the horizon. I have a sense to see something coming and just put it into perspective based on what's happening right now.
And like Okief mentioned, and being a visionary, there's crazy times I'll get ideas and it sounds crazy, but then we'll apply it and then boom, it takes our business to another level.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. What does business ownership mean to you?
It means everything. It gives me the freedom to be able to think freely, think clearly without any cap. No, I guess cap is used different in these societies nowadays, right? But without having any ceiling, right? So we, that for me, it just gives me a sense of, okay, I can go anywhere in the world. I'm not limited to just a nation. I literally can go anywhere in the world and conduct business. It's taught us a lot.
As for me, freedom and just the feeling that I put food on other people's table. It's just filling for me. On top of that, just the fact to know that's the fact that I'm helping others, within a system that nobody taught them financial literacy. They went to college all the way up, university, and they don't know financial literacy. So just the fact that I can help them with that knowledge and teach them how to use a credit card, how credit works, right? Helping them to better themselves, and at the same time providing employment for folks out there. They're feeding their families. Along with the freedom that it gives us, right? It's just fulfilling. So that's what business ownership.
Awesome. I know why you guys are doing so well. This is all coming from your heart. That's why. What's your definition of success?
Never giving up. Persistence, just never give up. For me, if you give up, then you don't have a story to tell. The only thing you have to tell is that you gave up. You can't inspire anyone with that. We could have gave up. We felt it sometimes coming along the lines. Oh man, I can't be bothered with this anymore. But we just never gave up. We keep pushing. So that's my definition of success. You just got to keep going.
And for me, it's more so, in addition to what Okief said, it's to add a legacy for my children. so that when years after, when I'm not, around to be dad, right, they have something strong behind them that's already been built, and then that's also leaving an education that they can follow. Because I mean, we all are under the understanding that we were never taught about credit nor financial literacy. All right, it's hot in South Florida, so. But yeah, we were never taught the literacy, so for me, it's to leave that legacy behind.
Yeah, we all learn it by trial and error, credit and finance.
Tuition we pay in life,
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have any other advice for someone just starting a business?
Oh yeah, but it won't be one, Danny. One, mentally, it's a mental game. You got to mentally be there, right? Because being a business owner is not easy, and it will try your patience. It will try, I would say, your soul, right? I understand the soul is being your mind, your will, and your emotion. And if something is able to interrupt that, then everything else goes out the window. So you have to be willing to go through the test of times. Second to that is not to listen to those who's in your ear. Countless amount of people, oh, that's not working. How long have you been trying this? How long have you been doing, at that? So not to listen to those individuals who may think they have the best intentions for you. Well, they may have the best intentions, but what they're telling you is not working out, or it's not falling in alignment with the vision that you have in play. Also pray. I mean, I don't put my faith on anyone, but that's what helped us throughout the process, even when we were going through those trying times, to pray. And then when it comes to building the business, seek advice, seek help. All right. Seek those who have done it before you and then can help you to do it, or understand that this is going to take me time because I've never done this before, and go all in studying every bit of it. If you don't have the time to then study again, go back to a mentor who have done it before you, and that can also provide you with the way to go.
Awesome. And what's next for you guys? Do you have plans to start more businesses or write a book, or what's the next big goal?
A bit of both. We already have another business in the works that we're creating, building that up from the ground. That's going to be catered or tailored to business owners or individuals who want to start a business. And then, we're looking to put them in a position to pretty much have not a cookie cut method, but a simple step way where they can get in, be educated mentally on how to prepare their mind, and then plug them in to understand the steps of what to do. So this is step one, formation of your business. This is step two, right? Making sure that all of this is, step two is completed, and then we'll be going from there. So yeah, business building.
That's awesome. Okay, last question of the day. How does it feel to be a credit repair millionaire?
Oh man, I mean, it brings joy. It brings joy to me. I know it brings joy to Okief as well, my family. I believe that I'm the first documented millionaire in my family. So a humble kid coming from Jamaica, coming from the country, coming to America, barely knowing how to speak English properly, getting beat up because I didn't understand how to speak English, and then going through high school, not even finishing college. I dropped out of college, and everyone's telling me to go back to school, get a career, get a degree. And my passion, my ability is saying, there's got to be something else out here than that, not knocking school at all. But I just knew something else was in me that wanted more that school couldn't provide. And then to be able to come across your platform and then exercising it with my best friend to then create $1 million business. I mean, that's priceless, man. I smile every time I think about it. It's just a proud moment.
That's so cool. I'm so proud of you. How about you, Okief?
Well, I say the same thing, man. I remember when both me and Odean was actually looking at the numbers coming in, and we're close. And we're like, oh my God, we're about to be millionaires. I don't think there's enough words to explain, the gratitude that we could share or give, for you giving us this platform, this opportunity, to use your platform and provide a service to our clients, and actually doing really good for our clients. So let me share secrets with you. Last year, we removed $12 million in debt from our clients' credit report, over $12 million in debt from clients' credit reports. So it's just the fact. It's not just, we're a millionaire. But for me, from the heart, is the fact that we are helping so much people out there to be in a better position, giving them a second chance. Feels great to be a millionaire, but for me, it feels even better to know that we are helping folks and we'll continue to help people out there.
Yeah, that's the best feeling of all. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time today, Odean and Okief. This was a lot of fun. Did you have fun?
Absolutely.
Oh, this was really fun.
If I may, Danny, I'd love to give it back to our team as well. Our entire Real Credit Deal family, from all of our departments within our business. I mean, without our team, we wouldn't be speaking with you right now and to the level that we're speaking with you. So, we greatly appreciate it. And for everyone who's looking to start a business, having a team is definitely the way to go.
Get yourself out of it.
Yes, get yourself out of it so that you can grow the business. Anyways, congratulations again on the Millionaires Club. I wish you both continued success. And for everyone out there, if you are enjoying this podcast, be sure to click to subscribe so you don't miss any of the inspiring stories, industry news, financial tips, and entrepreneurial advice that we share each week here on the Credit Repair Business Secrets podcast. And if you're feeling kind, do me a favor, or write me a review, give me a thumbs up, give me 5 stars, help me to move up the charts. So also leave a comment or ask a question, because I read each and every one of them. And I will see you on the next episode. And until then, don't settle for a terrible career if you know you're meant for more. Keep searching, keep learning, keep building, and keep changing lives. Hey everybody, it's Daniel again, and really quick, I'd like to invite you to join what I believe is the best thing we have ever created inside the Credit Repair Cloud community. And it is a challenge that we call the Credit Hero Challenge. If you're just planning out your business or you're just getting it started and you dream of having a successful business of your own so you can quit your 9-to-5 and fire your boss and have financial freedom, or so you can add another revenue stream to your existing business, if that's your dream, you need to get into this challenge. We created this challenge to help you to create and launch your very own credit repair business, to build a proper foundation for a really successful business. This challenge is going to help you to understand the strategy, the tactics, and all the things you need to be successful at credit repair. It really is the greatest thing we have ever built, and it will change your life. So I recommend you do it right now. Stop everything, pause this audio, go online, and go to CreditHeroChallenge.com. That's CreditHeroChallenge.com and join the next challenge. And there's a challenge that's starting in just a few days, so go get started right now at CreditHeroChallenge.com.